So one rumor, report, whatever you want to call it, from Bob Nightingale out of MLB All-Star Weekend is that no matter what, Rob Manfred would have ensured that Paul Skenes would have started over Chris Sale. And I know a lot of Braves fans were hoping Chris Sale, he's not available, so it's not even really a conversation. But it is because of this report and the fact that, you have a veteran coming off one of his best seasons, probably the front runner for the NL Cy Young, and a rookie having just an unbelievable season for the Pirates. Paul Skenes, probably the star, has a potential to be the face of baseball as far as pitchers are concerned, especially from a marketing perspective and the way that he pitches and the hard stuff, the 97-mile-per-hour splitters, Livy Dunn, all that stuff. all that stuff matters. Like, you can say it doesn't matter, but it does matter. I mean, she's one of the biggest stars right now in the United States, and Paul Skenes dating her helped.
You're taking my words out of my mouth.
I mean, it does. It frankly does. So a lot of Braves fans are going to have problems with it. I don't have a problem with it. And maybe it's because I have a soft spot for Paul Skenes because he went to LSU. Maybe that has something to do with it. But at the end of the day, I recognize Paul Skenes as the best pitcher on the planet right now. And frankly, he's 6-0 with a 1.90 ERA and setting records that only a few pitchers that have ever graced this earth have set. So marketing aside, I really don't have a problem with it anyways. Like, he's just a chance he's one of the biggest stars in the game, and he's going to continue to be this. I mean, if you haven't watched enough of Paul Skenes, he's must-watch television when the Pirates are playing. Who's ever said that about the Pittsburgh Pirates? Like, if Paul Skenes is pitching, I am turning on MLB TV and watching Paul Skenes pitch if I have nothing else to do, because he's must-watch television. And the Pirates suck. The rest of their team is almost unwatchable. But you will watch Paul Skenes pitch. That's what he does. And listen, I have no problem with MLB. They make so many mistakes from a marketing perspective. Finally doing something that makes some sense, I got no problem with that.
Yeah, you don't leave me much. I might have to repeat some things. But yeah, I mean, it just sticks in the craw of Braves fans because, we don't really like Rob Manfred. One, because, he's not very likable as a commissioner, period. Two, they took away the All-Star game some years back. Three, they're giving us the dead balls. No, that's a joke, kind of.
They gave Ozuna the dead balls.
They gave Ozuna the dead balls in the home run. It's a conspiracy.
Those balls looked way deader.
It's a conspiracy. But with that being said, in all seriousness, if you're a Braves fan and you're riled up about this, I think, you've got bigger problems in your life that are sparking this anger. Because let's call a spade a spade. Chris Sale is the most deserving because he's been the starter all year long. Paul Skenes has only been up since like May or something like that. And so if you want to talk about, if the season ended today, Cy Young, it would be Chris Sale probably. You could take that to the bank, but as far as the MLB All-Star game, it's a show. It's a pony show, and Paul Skenes is the sexiest, biggest pony that the MLB has right now. Yeah, and he the way he plays is sexy. He's the brightest star Pittsburgh has had since probably McCutchen, definitely McCutchen. So, they're doing all these things with the Livy Dunn. And I know some older people might not want to swallow that pill, but it's absolutely right. And it's one of the, like Chase just mentioned, one of the only times that baseball has actually done the right thing. They're marketing to a different generation than those who are upset with all this Paul Skenes, Livy Dunn crap. They're marketing to the younger generations. And that's what baseball needs to be doing. Outside of that, toe-to-toe, nobody can go with, I mean, the guys who can go toe-to-toe with Paul Skenes right now and from a pure stuff standpoint are all on the IL. They're all on the IL. So Paul Skenes has the sexiest stuff, and I know Chris Sale, Hall of Fame numbers, strikeout numbers, super fun to watch. It's Paul Skenes and then everybody else. It truly is. So I don't have a problem with this at all. I do enjoy riling up Braves fans and pitting him against little man Manfred because I do not like him, and I do think he's out to get the Atlanta Braves in some instances. But yeah, I think that they didn't make the decision, but if they had made the decision, I would have had no problem with it, other than just riling up our fan base.
The real question, though, and this is going to be the question that's really going to rile up Braves fans, it's going to rile up a lot of baseball fans, is if these trend continues and Chris Sale is still one of the best pitchers, let's say he goes out there and has a 2.5
so that
ERA,
I will get upset about.
And an 11 K9 and leads the league in FIP and leads the league in wins and such, and Paul Skenes continues to have, let's say he has a sub-2 ERA. Let's say he finishes the year with a 1.98 ERA. He's 14-1, didn't pitch the first, 2 months of the season, but in terms of those starts that he did give you, whatever he gives, 20, 23 starts or whatever he has, maybe he only has 20 starts at the end of the season, and he's the best pitcher in baseball. Does he win the Cy Young? So no, see, those are questions that I'm willing to have a lot more arguments about. If some guy makes 20 starts and the other guy makes 30, who deserves it? Even though Paul Skenes, from a stuff perspective, and maybe the numbers per start are a little bit better, he doesn't have the entire body work. See, that's an argument that we can have at the end of the season if things continue.
What's working in this scenario for Braves fans and just Chris Sale in general is the people who vote on these awards can't stand the Livvy Dunn TikTok crap. They prescribe to the character counts, do things the right way, all that kind of stuff. They're not going to be, mesmerized by Paul Skenes' 20 start season or something like that. So they do have that going for them. But I agree. That is something I'll get riled up about with most of Braves country.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting conversation because I don't think Paul Skenes' numbers are going to get
well. I think
worse.
It's quite simple. If it's close, you go with the bigger body of work. 2, Paul Skenes is a rookie. Let's just, call it's the elephant in the room. Chris Sale's never won a Cy Young. He's on his way to a Hall of Fame. And after, 4 seasons of battling injuries, comes back and wins his first Cy Young after going to 7 or 8 straight All-Star games. I mean, the story for Paul Skenes is great, but Chris Sale's is not chopped liver.
Yeah, and but you say these guys won't be mesmerized, but I'm mesmerized every time I'm watching. And if they look at a Paul Skenes as a guy, hey man, this guy might have the best stuff I've ever seen, and I've been watching baseball for 50 years, and he's putting up those numbers, and he's a rookie, and
it's an interesting argument.
He's a national star. I mean,
let's just call him
Paul Skenes. I mean, we're talking about the Shohei Ohtani of purely pitchers. Like this is a unique unicorn, right, in the sport. So I think it's going to be something. I think it's going to be a conversation we're having because I don't think either of these guys are going to let their foot off the gas. I think Chris Sale is on a run to win this Cy Young, and I think he's going to finish the job as long as he stays healthy. And I think Paul Skenes, I only see him getting better because you're talking about his first 10 starts. What can he do in his next 10? I can't wait to see.